Okay, I think we're live. As promised, this is just going to be a quick stream, maybe an hour, probably less, to introduce you to the SMP I play on. It is called Restland. It's based on the Minehut platform, so it's a little bit janky at times, but it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. Been here for about 10 months, I think, or 8 months. I'll have to check. There's a way to check in-game. I want to give you a tour of some of the things I've created here before it gets reset. They are resetting to a full-on 1.18.1 server, and they did try to simply do an upgrade to the existing server, and it just wasn't working with the claim functions that they've got and some of the other scripts that they've got built into the server. It just wasn't going to work, so they decided to do a clean sweep, let everybody start fresh. And it means that a lot of the builds that I've built over the last few months are going to be gone. So I wanted to show them to you, give you an idea of what kind of things I build, and just kind of show you Restland. It is a fun server. It's a public server; anybody can join, and I find it a lot of fun to play on. So let's get into it. I'll warn you that my base is only partially completed. And of course will never be completed, but parts of it look pretty cool regardless. Oh, right. Alright, give me a second. I'm going to pause the stream. I don't think I can pause the stream. No, we'll just do this. Quit. And start. Definitely not a pro streamer. I do use Optifine when I play on here. Actually, I use Optifine when I play on my hardcore as well. On hardcore, it's solely for the zoom function. I imagine I might end up using some other things. Maybe some shaders for some of my nice builds. For Restland, I use it because of the fog. The fog is gross. Okay, here, let's try this again, and we're logged in. Alright, so, this is my basement, and it's under construction, and will never get finished now. We've got bee stuff going on, not a big deal. Redstone on Restland is a little bit janky, so be prepared if you join the server. Redstone is not going to work the way you expect. And the interior of the house, also under construction. This is actually the third rendition of me trying to find a design for this house that I liked. But you'll see if we do tab, list of all of them. If you look down, what is it? 7th one, 8th one on the left column, Mythical Plus SCCX, pronounced Seeks. That's me. I nicknamed myself. I'm actually thinking of rebranding my name to that instead of Kurznar. But I'm known as Seeks on this server. And being as I've got a Mythical Plus rank, I have the fly command. So this is good for touring. This was a really good looking wool farm that didn't work because of redstone implications on Restland. So I built it all up, discovered it didn't work, didn't decide what I was going to do with it afterwards, so it just stayed here as it was. This is the house, and this was going to be the final redesign. It was starting to look good. Obviously roof didn't, that roof back there was left over from the design beforehand. That didn't work out very well. This design I really liked, and I'm probably going to use again and expand on. But it just never had time to get completed here. And my farms, manual mostly. You toggle. Just because of noise, I think I'm going to go sleep. Hang on a moment. Phantoms are a bit of a pain. On here, they've got a lot of custom gear. Like, check out this gear. Protection 10, unbreaking 10. And this is not the best gear at all. So a lot of custom gear. You really don't have to worry about dying if you don't want to. And so you don't sleep for long periods of time. Anyway, my farms, my fishing hole never really got developed. This was going to turn into a custom tree grove back here. But it never got developed. Manual replant is just a water harvest and ends up down in the basement underneath of each of the towers. We've got 4 towers, one for each type of crop. And then this is kind of the start of my trading area, one of my trading areas. There's no entry from this level, but this is what it looks like on the outside. I think I did a good job with it. There's a few things I'd like to change on the whole look here if I were to ever do this sort of thing again. But this is a sort of design, mechanic design anyway, that I'm going to be using in the hardcore world. I'll show you on the inside. There were a few changes over the months that I've been playing that broke the original design and made it so it doesn't work anymore, but they've changed it back, so now it does. So that's the outside, and it's basically just the same on this side. Just hasn't been expanded yet. We've got the same sort of towers for other vegetables here, produce, down in the basements. We'll get over there in a second. There's nothing really exciting over there. I've got my little bar before the redesign. This was a funky little barbecue deck. I've got pictures, screen caps of literally dozens of the players coming and sitting on my deck and posing for screen captures. This turned out really well. I thought that the look of it and the feel of it really worked with the whole layout of how the farms were going and so on. Trading area. This is the farmer's market. This is where all the produce gets traded for emeralds. Good XP farm, very good. I've got a shop, so a lot of what I produce on my farm and various other places is designed to keep the shop stocked. We'll go to the shop in a moment. This is trading area for librarians. I've got all but 3 of the vanilla books available here. They're all for reduced rates, not as reduced as you can get in vanilla. This is kind of a vanilla plus server with all the scripts they've got added in. But this is to supply my shop downstairs. And this was, before the zombie despawned, zombification area. They would come up from down, right, there's glass there now. Down below, there's a breeder downstairs. Come in here and then get sent out to wherever it needs to be. Second floor never got finished because I was still in the process of lining or setting up the villagers. Masons, popular for building blocks that I sell in my store. And we got butchers down the end to use up all the steaks or raw beef that I end up with, and a whole bunch of others. Like, I mean, a lot of raw beef. This is all raw beef. There's a lot of it. The masons are also a good way of using up all the stone and everything else that I end up with digs that I do. I dig big holes, or I tend to. So this is topside. The only other part that really haven't shown you is the far end here. Just a janky looking melon and pumpkin farm. Pumpkin on one side, melon on the other. Never got a roof put on it because this was not going to be final placing or design for this particular thing. I did not realize there was a cow in there. That's typical Minecraft. How does that happen, sort of thing? Okay. I did have... So, sugarcane, bamboo, and the melons. I had another building that looked really good built back in this area here, and I had just got it done, and then mine had a crash, and Restland crashed, and in the process, the world got corrupted. We had to roll back 6 days, and this whole build disappeared. It was rather disappointing. It was a good build. It was supplying everything I needed, including enough to be able to trade with, and it was just gone, and I just never got back to rebuilding it. I cleared out the space again to be able to rebuild it, but never got back to rebuilding it. And then the other thing we've got is my original, oh no, I lied, I tore it down, I forgot about that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is my shop. It is probably one of the most popular shops on the server, and it was built in 2 parts. Hang on, there's something, oh no, I can't even remember. It's called Starter Shack, not Starter Shop. There we go. It was built in 2 parts. There was the first part that was initial, that I built within the first probably week and a half that I started on the server, and that's this red part. Chest placements is still the same. Obviously the arches into the green section didn't exist at the time. It was all just completely chests that players could buy from, and I was trying to focus on stuff that if you're playing the game as a new player, you're going to want. Prices might be a little bit high, but if you were to grind a little bit, you'd be able to come in here and buy it all. Obviously all the crops so people could get started. For the longest time, I spent quite a bit of time keeping this restocked. It was that popular. I'm not worrying about restocking it now, being as it's going to get reset, so there's going to be a lot of red signs, which is out of stock, but no big deal. I then decided that there was more stuff I want. Well, my base upstairs got going much better. I ended up tackling an ocean monument, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So the products from that ended up here as well. So I needed room to expand, and so I built this. And this is Starter Shack, as most people know it. This is one wing. We've got bubble laders to get up to the 2nd floor. We've got custom chants listed here, all the vanilla chants here, and just funky decoration, and I think it worked out really, really well for the look of a shop. It's probably the most unique one that you'll see on this server. At the moment, of course, it's going to get blown up, well, erased. But this is Starter Shack, well known on the server. A lot of people come in here and buy. I can typically spend anywhere between 2 and 4 hours grinding away just to restock this, and that's on a daily basis. Daily, money-wise, I will make $500,000 to $1 million a day off of what I sell from here. You can see over on the right-hand side, let's do this. Over on the right-hand side, Restland, my rank, my money, my MC MMO level. Now on Restland, every 2,500 MC MMO levels that you get a credit with the Restland store of €1. It's a European-based server, so €1, and you can use that to buy stuff on the Restland shop, like ranks. The other thing that's kind of cool about the server is the ranks here. You can buy with in-game cash. If you can find a player that's willing to spend real-world money to buy you a rank, you pay them in-game cash, you get the rank. So that's how I got my rank. I got VIP, which is the first level you can really get for free from a loot box. And then I upgraded myself to Pro, and then I upgraded myself to Mythical Plus. I was going to go all the way up, but that'll be on 1.18. The top tier that you can get is Elder. I need a little bit more money before I can do that, but that's the goal, sort of, and I'm going to continue to do that, work towards the goal. I've got the 1.18 items. These aren't available in world anywhere at the moment, so I bought myself a couple, you might have seen the growth crystals sitting outside the trading center upstairs. I bought myself a couple of those so that I could harvest these to put them into stock. Concrete down there in that little alcove and glass up here in this little alcove have been my biggest sellers. I could typically sell through 3, 4, 5 chests of this a day in various colors. Same with the concrete, depending on who's building what. A couple of the actual builders on the server, they have staff rank of builders, so if there's a vent area being built, they build it. They've got some big builds that they do, and they keep me in good business. Yep, yep. Okay, really, this is one of my favorite builds of all time, I think. And judging by the popularity of it with the players that come in here and play on the server, they would agree that it's a really good build. Took me a long time. There was a lot of wow factor and holy shit factor that went in when I finally opened it, because the way I did it, it was kind of sneaky. For about a week before I actually opened, and that week was spent basically just restocking or stocking it up. This was only a 1 wide opening, and same on the other side, and I had a gate here, so you couldn't get through, but you could get a little sneak peek. So when I finally opened, I didn't crash the server, but it was laggy as hell with all the players that were coming in here. It was kind of sweet. It was pretty good. Okay, so one other thing I built into this, as I was building this in the first place, I discovered a slime chunk. And I thought to myself, slimes on this server, you either harvest them by hunting, you find a slime chunk, or you spend 500 in-game dollars for 1 slime ball. So when I found a slime chunk, I decided I was going to put up cheap slime balls. But I wanted it to look good. I mean, it's on the side of one of my best builds, so it had to look good. And this is what I came up with. Designer look of a standard slime farm. Golems in there. Slimes are attracted to it. And I just wanted something that was going to pop. So I went with this. Took me a little while to come up with a design. Took me a long time to collect up crying obsidian, because it's kind of rare in this world. And I just attached it here. There was a plan to expand this section into kind of a sitting area and a donation wall. Something I never set up on my shop was a donation wall. A lot of other shops have them, which is basically you buy a stick that's renamed and you pay 10K or 100K for it as a donation to the shop owner, sort of thing. I never set that up on mine. I did have plans to, but I just never got around to it. The biggest reason was the donation boards. The idea is for the top donator, but I AFK here a lot, so I never saw the notices that would come up in chat of who donated what. So without a screen capture taken by the player making the donation, I really had no way to know who had donated the most, and I didn't want to put it up and not have an accurate way of doing it, which is the main reason why I didn't set up a donation board yet. But this looked pretty cool. I think this design, it does kind of pop. It's a lot more than is needed at all for a slime farm, but it looks good. It looks good. All right, back out. And yeah, that's my favorite build. Starter Shack, the slime farm, definitely my most popular one. We're going to go now to what I turned the Ocean Monument into. And we can check that out. The Ocean Monument, I grinded through and cleared all on my own. Monument obviously is here. This is a fish grinder. It's a guardian grinder, and it's pretty OP as far as XP goes and loot. You can see that, like, take a look at looting. Looting level 25. So when you hit something, if I hit a ghast, I can get like 18, 19, 23 tiers off of one ghast. So it's nuts. So when you're grinding away on these, you end up with so much loot. It's ridiculous. I've got double chests galore downstairs that are full. I'm never going to use it at all. But this is the look that I set up for the Fish Shack. That's the warp name, is Fish Shack. The grinder's in there. We'll go in there in a second. I believe this is an ISCAL 89 or ISCAL 85 design that he came up with. I did see it for the first time in Hermitcraft. I thought the design was really good because it makes for a really compact, which allows you to use the space, the rest of the space of the ocean monument for whatever you want. And I'll show you one of the other things that I decided to use the space for. Up here, just simply, and this was going to get turned into a coral reef sort of look, but just a sitting area where you can sit and look out at things. We had a little underwater ballet going on here. A couple of players out doing a dance. They were out there for like 20 minutes, half hour, and there was half a dozen of us sitting around here just watching them chatting away. It was pretty cool. We've had some good times in this place, a lot of them. But this design, it's not what I initially had envisioned. It kind of grew organically as I was building. I built obviously up the grinder first, the kill area and everything else, and then kind of this grew. It literally did grow into what it is now as I built it. And that's a lot of the way I build, is initial idea for shape and frame goes up, and then I take a lot of time going through a look that I like. And this is what I came up with this, and I think it worked out pretty good. I really do. I kind of maintained at least the palette back in the next section that I'll show you. But for here, what do we got on us? We'll throw a stick. So, pressure plates. I was going to redesign this simply because players don't like to read the signs. So they get confused on how to turn the grinder on. But it's simple. Just throw a stick on a pressure plate. Go in here. Pistons come out, block off the death chute, and we get all of these. And these come raining down. Like, the entity cramming on Restland is somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, 4 or 6. So you can't have too many in here at a time. But if there's nobody up top, you can literally have a couple of seconds coming down. So the XP rates are on par with any of the Enderman farm that have been set up on the server that always end up getting grief because you can't claim in the end. And the Endermites die, and minecarts disappear because of clear lag, and so on. There's a few interesting aspects to the server because of the scripts that you have to be aware of if you're going to play on the server and want to build big things, because some of them may not work and you're going to have to do a whole bunch of redesign to try and figure out a way to make it work. I had to play with this a little bit because of a few of those things, but I finally got a system that works. The rest of this obviously is unfinished at the moment. This goes up top. It's just a glass wall all the way around. I did have big designs for what I was going to do with this. That's the collection area up there. It was going to get reworked a little bit as the other buildings got built up around here. But the only building I've got at the moment is this one. And this is a trading hall. It's got a janky lightning roof on it right now just to protect the villagers because they're out in the open. But I went with a design of balconies for some of the villagers. More of an aesthetic, hey, that's kind of cool look as you come up on the building, more than functionality. And what I found, unfortunately, was these guys all should have max trades, at least for wrestling. But because there's no social that goes on here, because there's no villager close to this one, this guy's trades don't end up being really great. They really don't. So, a redesign was going to be in the works. I tried doing a 2-gap spacer here to get the social discount. It wouldn't work. These guys wouldn't reset properly. They need to be 1 block away from a counterpart. So there was going to be a redesign of the balconies at least, and some honey blocks put in to make it a little bit better for the trading aspect. I've got my moniker on the side in diamond blocks because I've got that many diamond blocks. I'll be packing those up to move to the new 1.18 server. But yeah, I like the idea of the balconies all the way around. The roof was going to be kind of an open air sitting and barbecue area. But right now it's just a mob farm. So yeah. But this turned out really well. The inside is... You're going to think that it's a strange use of design, but like the blocks that I used and how I put them together is not normal, I would think. You wouldn't normally see it this way. But it worked out really well, I think. Yeah, so anyway, we've got fishermen at the bottom here for trading cod with. Restland has, where we got? Where's my gold? Oh, it's upstairs. I gotta do it upstairs. So we'll go upstairs. So we trade cod for emeralds down at the bottom. Up here, we trade for tools. And I can trade iron with them. And then we trade for tools. Now, on Restland, there is the salvage skill. It's a child skill of the fishing skill and the repair skill. And it just goes up as your repair and your fishing skills go up. The salvage skill allows me, though, to take a tool and right-click on a gold block with it and get materials back. So in other words, if I buy an iron axe and I right-click on the block, I can get 3 iron back from the axe and sometimes an enchantment. But I can also get diamonds back from salvage and possibly an enchantment, and I'm still grinding up my salvage skill. So this means that this whole thing was designed and intended to turn cod into diamonds and then sell the diamonds at the shop and make a whack load of cash. And I did a test run. I've only got this level. I don't think I've even got the next level fully done. Do I? No, they're not even fully done. So I've got the fisherman level at the bottom and the tool level next up. And I was making pretty decent coin off of this. It was a grind to do it, I gotta say. But you get pretty decent coin off of this. It also kind of, along the way, I learned about the intricacies of trading and how much XP you can get from it. And that's when I discovered that trading with villagers in bulk can get you some monstrous XP. Huge. This was going to be for the weaponsmiths, and then the top layer was going to be for the armorers. And like I said, never got the rest of the villagers in because the design of the social wasn't working. So before I started putting all the villagers in, I wanted to redesign. But it didn't happen because it's got reset. So yeah, a lot of plans kind of got kiboshed for a lot of what I've done here, but that's not a big deal. So that's pretty much it. I've got a few other things that I've been working on, like a drowned farm, but it looks janky, and a few other things on the base that haven't quite gotten done, like the bee farm and the basement hallways and so on and so forth. I had just started moving my storage area down there, so the timing of this means that I don't get to finish. The timing of the reset means I don't get to finish, and I haven't completely fleshed out what the look of it was going to be. But anyway, some of the designs, I want to show some of the other things that are on the server as well. We have a builder named Mix, and she is incredible. They built up a admin shop where you could buy 1.18 items and 1.17 items. So we'll go there. This whole design was done by Mix, and like I said, she's an incredible builder. Look at this. Like, this is, for just a shop, this is pretty cool. I was quite impressed when I saw it. Obviously, when she builds for community stuff and server stuff, she gets creative. So she could just fly through and do it, get any block palette she wants, and so on. But yeah, like look at this. Like even the underwater is all done up. Uh, so this is just an example of some of the style of builders that they've got. This is Mix's build. If I can get to Tracker's builds, I would like to show off some of his. He is another incredible builder. Builds surface world buildings. His latest thing was he built a set of islands and built up on the islands. And he doesn't have warps established to him. In fact, a lot of his builds he'll turn around and sell once they're done. But they are absolutely outstanding POG sort of builds. This is the admin shop. I don't shop here. This is all overpriced. The only thing I buy from the admin shop is sand, because it's the only thing that I need that is really decently priced. Where else do we go? Let's do home, winter. This was another builder that was on the server, had to quit to go to school. Left me rights to his house. The inside he never got done. But the outside, I think looks pretty good. Now apparently he did it off a template, but he only used a thumbnail to do so. But yeah, there's a lot of really, really good builders on this server. A lot of them don't necessarily chat a lot or do any of the events or PvP or anything like that, but they do builds like this. And this is only a small example of it. And this is why I love SMPs. I've got my build style. I think some of my builds are absolutely gorgeous. But on an SMP, I can go around and I can take a look at other people's builds, get ideas, and just see how absolutely gorgeous you can make blocks, stupid little blocks in Minecraft look. Like, look at this, right? So this is just an example of it. I wish I had warps that I could get to for some of the others. Actually, have I still got Mushi's? Nope, he's gone. And what about Warp Moosh? No. Yeah, I'd like to take to some of the other builds. I think on the 1.18, I'm going to start streaming maybe once a week. Strictly for the purpose of showing off some of the builds, because it is incredible. It is a fun server to play on. The interaction between the players is pretty good. Sometimes there's some drama, but that happens everywhere. With the claim system that they've got for individual builds, you can claim. If I do this and right click with a stick, you can see the border of what Winter has claimed for this spot. And so nothing in here is griefable. Blocks can't be broken, blown up, or anything like that by anybody except the people you give trust to. So you got to be careful who you hand out trust to. But other than that, you can build to your heart's content, and it's going to be safe from creepers and everything else. So people end up coming up with gorgeous builds, and this is why I like playing on SMPs like this. Okay, so anyway, that's that. I don't think there's really much else I wanted to show. I was kind of hoping that some of the other builders that I kind of work with and so on were going to be on, but they're not on at the moment, and I haven't got warps, teleports, to be able to get to their builds directly. So I'm not going to necessarily just fly around the world, because a lot of it is just ripped to shreds. But this is Restland .minehut.gg. Here, I will do... Can we do... No, is it server? No. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. This is the server. If you want to join it, you just type that into the server address in your Minecraft, join up. It is a, it's not an anarchy server. There is PvP available, but keep inventory as on if you die, which is kind of handy, particularly for builders. But it's a very fun server. Come check it out. Like I said, I think I'm going to be streaming here maybe once a week as I build up on the new server. It's not getting reset for about 4 or 5 days. Give us all time to pack things up into shulkers and put them into our personal vaults so that we can port it over to the new server. So once the reset happens, I'm going to look at adding a few hours maybe to a few hours stream to my schedule on Restland and building things up in Restland and so on. I don't know if I'm going to do a shop like I did on the new server. It did end up being a time sink. There was a lot of time invested in restocking it and not building, unfortunately. You could see by the half-built state of a lot of my builds that I'd get going on it and then I'd spend hours a day, every day for a week restocking the shop. I was making good money off of it, but it meant that nothing was getting built, which was kind of, I think I want to get away from that a little bit on 1.18 on the reset. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. This was just a quick tour of Restland and some of my builds on Restland before they get wiped out by the reset. I will bring you back and probably include you in the process of recreating or building anew on the new 1.18 server after the reset. So in about a week's time we'll get started. I might do a blitz sort of thing on the opening day of the server and just do a stream of exploring and seeing what the new server has. I've got a few things that I want to make sure that I get claimed out in the world with my claim blocks. One is going to be an ocean monument because it's just massive XP, but I also like a lot of the blocks that come from it. I also want to try and continue and expand on the whole trading idea. And if I can get it perfected and tweaked out, I want to try opening it up to full public so that anybody can come in here, grind, take their product or drops and trade with the villagers and utilize that whole salvage feature if they want. So yeah, I'm going to sign off. Check out wrestland.minehut.gg if you get a chance. It's a fun server to play on. Probably one of the best that I've seen over the years. I've been playing for a lot of years. Out of all the servers I've played on, this one and one other server called Empire that I don't play on very much anymore would be my favorites. So it definitely, it sits right with me. I'm going to recommend it. Okay, I'm going to end off now. Thanks for watching. It was just a quick tour. I will see you again probably later on in the day for more hardcore world stream. But for now, going to sign off and thanks for watching. Whoops.